Hello ladies and gentlemen, guys and ghouls. My name's Kevin and welcome to my channel, The Art of Horror. Today's piece of artwork and review is for Netflix's Black Summer. Black Summer is created by the same people that brought us Z Nation and is a spin-off series. Created by Carl Schaefer and John Hyams. Starring as the main protagonists, you have Jamie King, Justin Chu Carey, Christine Lee, Sal Velez Jr. and Kelsey Flower. It is a much more serious take on the zombie apocalypse genre than Z Nation was, while still being a bit tongue-in-cheek. There's definitely nods to its roots all the way through the series. There are 8 episodes in the first series, with some episodes going for longer than others. I found this show extremely easy to watch, with performances from the main ensemble cast particularly being quite good. I find the transition of the characters going from normal everyday people to becoming survivors of the zombie apocalypse an incredibly interesting story. And it was definitely a journey that I loved every step of the way. I'll try to keep this review spoiler free for you guys, as those of you who watch my channel will definitely know that I hate spoilers. Each episode is broken up into chapters, and often chapters show the point of view of different characters, whilst something else is happening to another character simultaneously, and we get to see it from multiple angles through the eyes of multiple characters, and I find this approach to filmmaking very interesting. I've watched the series twice already, just to see the crossovers in the chapters. And I was often amazed to see that in the background you could see these other chapters unfolding within a different chapter of the story itself. And if you liked watching this show the first time around, it definitely deserves a second viewing just for these aha moments. I also found it's one of the few TV shows I've been screaming at a character on the television to do something, and instead of them being completely docile and stupid and doing the exact opposite what you would think somebody would do, they actually adhere to sensibility and do what you or I would possibly do in that same situation. I find this makes the characters a lot more human to me. And at no time does this show ever go over the top. It's never over the top with its blood effects or its gore. Everything is very understated compared to a lot of other zombie shows that we've seen, and it's quite slow to begin with. But oh boy, does this show pick up pace fast. With each individual chapter being shown as a short film vignette almost, the chapters themselves could stand up on their own, as simple short films. This breaks the show up into bite-sized chunks that are easily digestible. And I really can't recall having seen this style of filmmaking done in an entire series before. Overall, the show is a fantastic roller coaster ride, slowly gathering pace. And it seems to be holding back on its budget for most of the episodes for an epic finale. By the time I'd gotten to the final episode, I'd found myself attached to this group of ragtag characters. And I had connected with them on a much more human level than any of the people in The Walking Dead. And I do love The Walking Dead. As much as people say they don't like that show at the moment, I think it's back on track and I am really enjoying it again at the moment. So to say this show is entertaining me more than that is great praise in my mind. And I've actually seen a lot of other people say they feel the same way that I do. There's no news yet on a second season for Black Summer, but I'm hoping we'll hear something soon, as I'd love to see these guys get a much larger budget. It's not all good though, and a couple of negative points that I personally have about the show. There were no real standout zombies. One of the things that makes George Romero's works and The Walking Dead great is fantastic character zombies that you come away remembering, like say the well zombie in The Walking Dead. And while I understand the filmmakers here don't seem to be wanting to go down the silly pathway, just adding a titch more gore to the zombies, maybe some exposed rib cages, more exposed teeth, intestines hanging out, just a bit more gore and blood for the zombies in general. Also, there were no actual close-ups of anybody getting bitten. I think these bite scenes go a long way to induce terror in the viewer. For example, when Rhodes gets torn apart in Day of the Dead, or when Noah gets eaten in the revolving door in that episode of The Walking Dead and just gets ripped apart by walkers. It is absolutely horrific and terrifying, and I just felt if this show had those moments in it, it would have elevated it right up to a 10 in my books. It was basically the only thing missing from the whole formula. But other than that, I was overall incredibly impressed. And like I said, I connected with each of the characters on a personal level and found them very believable. And considering a zombie apocalypse isn't actually a very believable situation, that says a lot for those characters. At no point do they ever turn into ass-kicking zombie slayers. It's always just about the survival. And for that, Black Summer has earned my respect tenfold. I give this show a firm 3.5 stars out of 5. With basically just those iconic moments it needed to elevate it above the pack. And the finale, of course, like I said, it had me whooping and hollering, which The Walking Dead hasn't done for me in quite some time. The practical effects are really, really good, and a lot of the zombie makeups are actually quite good and almost on par with The Walking Dead themselves. Once again, minus the iconic zombies, also minus some of the fantastic puppetry that, of course, Greg Nicotero's gang can bring to the party. But the zombie makeups are definitely a step above your average sci-fi zombie movie. The show, however, did create some really fantastic set pieces. I wouldn't quite call them epic, but they were almost there. But the show creators do manage to get across that sense of dread at the beginning and really do convey the sense of society crumbling all around extremely well. The sense of dread I get at the beginning of this series, with air raid sirens wailing and planes flying overhead, I couldn't help but be impressed. I do believe with a bigger budget we will see some of these more iconic style zombies. And if they keep going the way they're going, the creators of this show by season 2 I'm sure will pick up a huge following and it will become a classic in no time. I'm not sure if he's listening, but I was listening to Hamey from the horror show do his Stephen King show, which kept me thoroughly entertained while I was drawing this image. So a big shout out to the horror show guys. I love your live streams and I've been listening to you since you began. And it's so good to see you grow. I would really like to thank Bronco Juggalo Talks Movies for the shout out during his live stream last week. I'll leave a link to Bronco's channel in the description. If you ever feel like hanging out live and just talking horror movies, Bronco Juggalo does a really good live hangout session where they just discuss all things horror. I'd also really like to thank EvilStevels for giving me a shout out as well on his Instagram. Steve's one of my biggest supporters, and I urge you to check out his channel as well, as he discusses all things horror, and he's a bit of a creative filmmaker as well. Steve's knowledge of horror is so deep and huge, which is the mark of a true horror fan. And once again, I'll leave a link to Steve's channel in the description below. I'm just waiting on a new pair of glasses at the moment. I have been hanging to do some VR, but when I put the headset on, it's all blurry to me and I just can't do it at the moment. So I am just hanging to get in and do some artwork. And I was also thinking I may do a horror gameplay video once a week within the VR, as there are so many good horror games. And like I said, I'm hanging to get back in there. So as soon as I get a new pair of glasses, I will be jumping back in. Next up, I will be doing some more subscriber suggested art. And if you guys have any suggestions and would like to leave them in the comments below, I'll be happy to have a look and see what I can do. If you like zombies, this show won't steer you wrong. This piece of artwork took me 1 hour and 20 minutes. It's a mix of inks, markers, and acrylic paint. There was no working out or pencil used in this piece. It's purely straight out of my mind's eye. And I really enjoyed doing it. I got these inks for Christmas, and I haven't used those nib-style dip pens since I was a kid. And I forgot how good they look. I really love using these things. If you'd like to see the finished image, check out my Instagram and or my Facebook. I'll leave those links in the description below as well. If you're new to the channel and you'd like to see more videos like this from me, please feel free to subscribe. As always, hit that like button if you enjoyed the video, or not if you didn't. Until next time, this has been Kevin for The Art of Horror. Goodbye for now.